Alright, here she comes. Got your coffee?
Yeah, I got my coffee.
Did you forget to put your drawers on? Nothing. Come on in, have a seat. Okay. Better turn around and prove it. You better show. There we go. Okay. That's what we call the ghetto booty around here. So yeah, here we go. Backed up. Got your coffee? Yeah. So you had a good day. You did a lot of vids today and stuff, huh?
I recorded.
You just did a couple tractor. You did. I just heard you doing. Were you doing a McCormick or a Deere
The McCormick has gone up today. It's a comparison between the extra speed McCormick TTX 210, which has a 8-speed additional power shift transmission.
Alright, now we're going to get a little nosy here, and we're going to dig into your Farmgirl past here, because your channel is Farmgirl, all one word, Marie, right? That's your channel now. It was originally going to be Marie Ford, but then you said, well, I want something Farmgirl Marie. So Farmgirl, all one word, and then Marie.
M-A-R-I.
Let's go back a little bit, because one of the things you never really talk about, and never talked about on YouTube, at least on your channel now, is your past and your farming and your agricultural background in Germany. Now, you've listed on, people that know you on Facebook know the town that you were born in. It's some 16-syllable long name. Klister, Kloster, Kluge, Luga, Vuga, or something in Germany. Was that in agriculture? Where, if I'm looking at Germany, is that in close to Austria? Is it close to Switzerland?
It was 6 miles from the Netherlands border.
Wow, so you were really in prime fertile farm country over there. 6 miles from the Netherlands there. So, and you're
prime farming.
Now, your dad was in the army. Yeah. Now, how did you come from Germany to? I mean, how you were raised in Germany?
Well,
so
my time on the farm was not really with my parents.
Okay, but you said your mom is on a place where she has a big piece of land.
Well, we had a big. She still has that big piece of land, and we used to have ducks and geese and chickens, and we raised our own chickens from eggs.
Yeah, and she wants me to be her new financial advisor, right?
And we had geese.
Always working it, Rosie. Always working it.
We had pigeons. We had rabbits.
How big was it? A couple acres?
I think around 6 acres.
That's good size, because land is expensive in Germany. The cost of living is high there and all that stuff. So.
Well, it was when they got it in 1968.
Wasn't too bad, huh?
It was basically on a gravel road in the middle of nowhere. There was a soccer field, and then there was just fields as far as you could see to the horizon.
Alright, so let me ask you this. You didn't have a lot of farm equipment around when you were growing up there. You had a nice piece of property. When did you start getting interested in, when did your passion for tractors come about? Because in the 80s you started collecting like crazy.
Well, I was in my childhood part-time living on the farm.
Right.
That was away somewhere. And they had several hundreds of acres of land. 50 heads of cows we had on that farm. We had a horse.
So you had some real farm equipment on that.
And we had everything. Combine,
PTO,
baler,
all that equipment, all the
plows, grass loaders.
So that's when you really became interested in
farm
stuff. So
milking the cows and feeding them and going out on the tractor all day. We had.
So you left that. You came to the U.S.
Sugar beets.
And this is where you started collecting tractors, right?
In 1986, I started collecting.
And what bug bit you at that time to get you started?
I started working construction. I just turned 16, and I started working construction at the age of 16, just turned 16. And I worked with somebody that had a friend that had a Case International Harvester dealership. And so he introduced me when I talked about tractors and kind of, I would like to, have a tractor models and stuff.
Yeah.
And he said, well, a friend of mine has a dealership and he's got models there. So he took me there, introduced me, and I basically that day bought my very first tractor model.
And the rest is history, because this is nothing. What you have on the walls here is nothing compared to what you had, right? You don't. Do you have any more in case?
I still have a whole bunch of implements.
Okay.
And a few more tractors.
So in your channel, you're not just going to talk about tractors. You're going to show people the implements and talk about the realities of what it meant to have a tractor on the farm, and upkeep and maintenance, and what would you have to do to this type of equipment to take care of it? Did it break down a lot? What was the worst thing that could happen on, I'm hoping maybe on your channel you'll talk about some of the, since you operated this farm machinery, you'll talk about some of the practical side of what it meant to drive a tractor and all that, because you hear about people once in a while turn over, kill themselves. It's very common in this country, especially with the the double tire in front with the
narrow front ends were outlawed in the 50s.
Wow, okay.
Or maybe even in the 40s.
Wow.
You had to have wide front end, period.
All right.
And they introduced a law, I think in the early 50s, that you also had to have a rollover cage.
Okay. So that's why tractors have tops on them now, and you don't see any open vehicle tractors unless they're like antique ones that people are running around in. Well, I don't know about you guys. I find that very interesting. I'd like to know the roots of how people got involved in the hobbies that they got into, like me with stereos and metal detecting and all that kind of crap. So that's interesting. So I'm excited. I'm glad I kind of pushed you to get your channel gone here. Yeah, Farmgirl Marie, I think it's really good, because I see you doing a lot of research and you're putting a lot of time and effort, and you have a lot of heart and soul into this stuff. So I think
well, I'm going to, in every video with every model, I'm going to have technical data, the basic technical data of the real machine, the real piece of equipment, and then I go and refer to the model and say,
yeah, because some models are much more detailed than other models. I've already heard you talk about some with headlights that actually look like they're filled in, and lights on top, the red lights and all that stuff. So it's pretty amazing. I've learned quite a bit already, and once in a while I do pick up the tractors up on the shelf and look at it. It's really fascinating. I think it's very interesting, and it's one of the things that I think makes you really cool here on the rancho, is you spread that joy and that love of agriculture and all that stuff. It's, although we have the Central Valley out here and all that, we're the biggest agricultural producer in the nation, it's really far removed from where we are. We're in wine country, where you just see mile after mile of just grapevines and stuff like that. So,
and
good deal.
Kind of throw that in. I mean, when you're talking about what you see, what I have now is maybe 70% of what I have. I had in my house in Germany one big wall, complete shelf.
Just the whole thing.
And all it had is 1 to 16 scale tractors.
Yeah.
And
you had to sell that stuff.
I had to sell all of them because I moved across the ocean, and
you couldn't bring a lot with you.
Switched. I was fortunate to be smart enough to also purchase a lot of 1 to 32 scale, because eventually you run out of space with these.
Yeah, well, you can use the 1 to 32 is good for.
And the 1 to 32s come with a lot more implements. So
they have a lot more details too, right? Some of them are surprising on the details that they have on them. Well, I just thought people would be interested, because I know you're putting a lot into getting this channel started, and you're the kind of girl, when you start something, you don't just flush it down the toilet after a while. I mean, you just keep it going and all that.
It's going to be another piece of legacy. I
You know, we got the county fair coming up, and they'll have a lot of farm displays and all that stuff. So Jen will probably do some vids from the field and stuff like that to discuss some of the stuff that's out there and point to some of the more salient features on some of these tractors and things. So I'm looking forward to it, though. Thanks for sharing this evening with us, and the Tractor Girl Marie, Farm Girl Marie. Farm Girl Marie. So look it up.
M-A-R-I-E.
Yeah, Farm Girl's all one word, space, and then Marie. So look it up. Better be subbed to the Jen and Rosie reality freaking TV.
That's right, because it's hard hitting and in your face.
In your face. All right, love you, honey.
Mwah.
Love you too, Rosie.
Love you too, Rosie.